These days, current events unfold on a dozen channels. Headlines all seem to be shouting, and good news can be as scarce as a moment to relax. So let's turn down the noise this summer, unplug just a little bit, and head to a shelter from the storms of life. The historic port city of Alpena, located on the Sunrise Shore of Michigan. Only a few hours' drive, but miles away from the weight of the world. Nestled between a vast forest and an endless clear blue bay, where the wonders of nature are as welcoming as the local hospitality. We can explore more than 200 shipwrecks in the largest freshwater sanctuary anywhere. Count the stairs to the top of a lighthouse, or the masts that jet into the harbor sky at moonrise. Let's take a trip to the friendly, picturesque city of Alpena, a haven from the world that's pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
For your viewing pleasure, this broadcast of the Municipal Council meeting of Alpena is made possible by the funding provided by the City of Alpena. Thank you for your generosity.
All of a sudden, nobody starts. Good evening. Welcome to the Alpena City Council meeting of June 16th, 2014. Call the roll, please.
Johnson. Here. Nielsen.
Here.
Nowak.
Here.
Sexton.
Here.
Walagora.
Here. Rise for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this evening, approval of the minutes, regular session June 2nd, 2014, and we'll hold off on approving the minutes for closed session June 2nd, 2014 until next closed session. Greg has found a couple of grammatical errors he'd like to change, so we'll take care of that at another time. So regular session June 2nd, 2014. Everybody was okay with that? Any modifications to the agenda this evening? Citizens appearing before council on agenda and non-agenda items shall be allowed 5 minutes each to address your concerns. This is the only time during this council meeting that citizens are allowed to address council. If you do, please come to the podium and state your name and address for our records.
Hi, my name is Dick Wiedela, and I live on South First, and I'm here tonight representing the Thunder Bay Amateur Radio Club. And first of all, I want to thank you. We were one of the groups that had rented Mishikiwa's warming room and previously, and we had to work it out to still keep that commitment. And we appreciate all the extra work and that you guys have done to provide that for us. And over the years, we've worked with the council a couple of times on it. We sent it back, the attendance ordinance back into planning committee and stuff, and we were able to work out some things that worked for both of us. And so we've been working on this field day. You may wonder what that is. The field day is sponsored by the American Radio Relay League, which has been in existence. This is their 100th year this year, and it started out shortly after people started making their own radio sets and transmitting and stuff. So it's had a long history. And every year they sponsor what's called Field Day. And Field Day is probably the most popular on-air event annually in the U.S. and Canada. Always is on the 4th weekend of June each year. And they anticipate more than 35,000 amateurs participating across the United States. Altogether in the United States, there's probably about 750,000 amateur radio operators. So It's something that you may not know anything about, or you may know something about, but it's something. The objective of Field Day is to work as many stations as possible on any and all amateur radio bands. It helps to learn to operate in abnormal conditions and less than optimal conditions. And it's kind of a scoring contest in a way, and a premium is placed on different things that you can have, where you have portable power, public relations, and educational types of things. And we plan to have some of that set up where people come by and actually see what amateur radio is and get some literature on it and so forth. And it's something that really is a good demonstration of what can be done with amateur radio. You may have heard, after 9/11 and stuff, and a lot of the big disasters, tornadoes, floods, hurricanes, the amateur radio operator is the only ones able to get messages through. And that's true because a lot of the infrastructure gets ruined or broken or whatever. A beaver chews the fiber or something, and it's amateur radio operators a lot of times that provide that emergency communications. So I'd like to invite you to stop down on the 28th. It's a week from this Saturday in Mishikiwas. We start operating at 2 o'clock, and we'll go probably maybe through the night or at least into the night. So you can stop down and see what happens, and maybe even get on the air yourself and see what it's really like. I do have some literature here. I just put together some little packets and have one passed around and get some information. So thank you again for everything that you've done for Emmons Radio Group in Alpena and the area. And invite you to all the city officials, councilmen, anybody that stop down is interested to find out what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. The consent agenda this evening, bills to be allowed in the amount of $276,692.18, and one council appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a 3-year term expiring on May 1st, 2016 is Mike Polluch.
Move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Nielsen,
Yes.
Noah,
Yes.
Sexton,
Yes.
Walagora.
Aye.
Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, no announcements this evening. I do have a proclamation. Whereas the Alpena Blues Coalition was started in November 2003 for the purpose of furthering blues music awareness and appreciation, and whereas the first Alpena Blues Festival was held in 2004 and subsequent successful festivals have been held each year since, and whereas the Blues Coalition provides a program called Blues in the Schools Music Outreach as a way of raising awareness and educating students in traditional American blues music. And whereas events sponsored in the past include blues bands at the Friday Night Downtown Concert Series, blues performers at various venues around town, and fighting hunger in our community. And whereas over the years, successful fundraisers have been held to support and promote awareness of upcoming Alpena Blues festivals held every June at the Alpena County Fairgrounds. This year's festival will be held June 20th and June 21st, 2014. Now therefore, I, Matthew J. Walagora, by the virtue of authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Alpena, do hereby proclaim the week of June 15th through the 21st, 2014 as Alpena Blues Week in Alpena, and urge all area citizens to recognize and support the efforts of the Alpena Blues Coalition's 11th anniversary Blues Festival. And I have several Blues Coalition folks here. Come on up and get a picture with the paper. Camera shy. Yes.
Oh, wait a minute, there's a few more.
No, you'll come. This is Maggie.
I know, I didn't see it. I just know what I know. That's where we packed it up.
There we go.
Thank you.
It's nice.
Okay, report report of officers, the treasurer's financial report, July 1st, 2013 through May 31st, 2014.
I don't have too much to report since last time. It seems like we're reporting quickly. We should be at about 91.67% of our budget. Our revenue is at 95.79, so we're in good shape there. We do have one more state revenue sharing payment to come. They pay us bi-monthly, so we'll get that. Total expenses were at 89.2, so we're under budget in that area, which is good. Again, utilities are running high. I told you that last time we reported, but the good news is some of that rates have come down, I believe, on the natural gas, so that's good. Fire and ambulance are slightly high, so we'll try to keep that in check. Major and local streets, we're kind of high in that area. The snow and ice, we took a hit this winter on that. Fortunately, we did get a little bit from the state, $50,000, so that helped us out in that area. The marina, we're still waiting for our dredging grant money to come in, so then that fund should be in much better shape. And then water and sewer, our revenues over 100%, and our expenses are on 79% in the sewer and about 81.95 in the water, so we're in good shape there.
Questions?
I move we receive and file.
Second.
Nowak?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Karen. Bids tonight, we have the Jaws of Life bid. Chief Forbush?
Honorable members of council, this is Lieutenant Rob Edmonds with our department who headed up this project for us. I had a really nice PowerPoint set up, about 120, 140 slides. I thought you really would have enjoyed it, but under threat of death from my fellow department heads, we decided to dispense with that.
We would have used the jaws of life.
Yeah, it could have been pretty bad. But just to give you a quick recap, several months ago, we put together a committee to look at the various products that are out there, what's best for our community, what would meet our needs the best. We put together some demonstration days at the station on March 31st and April 1st and 2nd, in which vendors were invited to bring their tools and demonstrate them, and a number of record companies provided cars for us, donated that we could tear up, and actually see hands-on which tool is better and which one has more capabilities and all the different kind of functions that you would do. Subsequent to that, the committee developed sealed bids, or specifications rather, and sealed bids were opened on June 3rd. 5 bids were received, none of the bidders were local. The lowest bid came from R&R Fire Truck Repair of Northville for Champion brand rescue tools, but in that particular case, the bid was $23,500. It was the lowest received, but the unit did not meet the minimum bid specifications. Furthermore, the Champion tools in demonstration days actually stalled when trying to cut an older car and performed very poorly, so we knew that probably wasn't a good choice. I'm recommending that we not accept that bid, even though it is a low one. The next lowest bid came from Rescue Resources of Rockford, Michigan, in the amount of $25,023. This bid was for Genesis Rescue Tools, which met all of the bid specifications and performed flawlessly in demonstration. In fact, that ended up being the tool that was the one favored by the committee that was researching it. Now, all the credit goes to the committee. Lieutenant Paramedic Rob Edmonds chaired the committee. He was assisted by firefighter paramedics Andy Marceau, Dean Rivard, Jim Staklowitz, and Mike Torek. And they all put a great deal of effort into it. What they did was Rob's a great project guy, and so he assigned different brands to each of the guys, and they did all the research on it and got all the information and talked to the vendors and went back and forth. So it took several months, but this is probably a once in 30-year purchase, so we wanted to make sure to do it right the first time and not make any mistakes. Rod, did you have anything you want to add?
I guess at this time, basically what we looked at is for the branded tool that's going to do the most for the money is what we looked at. We didn't want to buy something that was not going to do what we needed it to do. With the more higher strength steel in the cars today, the low bid is not the one we're recommending, obviously, for that reason. Just because if it's going to last us 20 years or more, we want to be able to do everything we need for long term and short term.
Now, the best news of the whole thing is the funding for the purchase was made possible through a $16,000 grant from AAA Michigan, $3,000 from the Community Foundation of Northeast Michigan, and $162 from the Children of All Saints School.
So the total city funding that will go into this project is $5861, which has been set aside in the capital improvement plan budget after July 1st. It's my recommendation as fire chief that we reject the lowest bid on the basis that the product offered does not meet the minimum bid specs and award the bid to the next lowest bidder, Rescue Resources LLC at Rockford, Michigan, in the amount of $25,023. Sir?
Chief, and this has been on the CIP for a while,
Mhm.
right? Seems like in the past, when this came up, there was some discussion about approaching the township and getting a contribution from them and sharing the equipment. Is that still on the radar, or is that?
No, I approached the township and they said if we would like to pay for their jaws, that would be fine, but they weren't interested in collaborating on that particular issue. They are looking at replacing jaws in the future. It's on their radar, but they didn't want to do it collaboratively.
Now, they have a Jaws of Life, right?
Yeah, so do we.
It's just an older.
But they're both older units that don't do the new cars. I think theirs are similar to ours in the 80s.
And if I can add to that, one of the things we did before our demo days is actually take our jaws out and actually show some of the newer guys what our jaws were not capable of doing.
Oh.
And in the process, we broke out basically the valve bank in it, and that was in an older style car. So a new style car, the current set that we have is not efficient at all.
So it's kind of exciting. We'll be the only department in the area and available for mutual aid, obviously, that's able to handle the newest challenges. That's part of what helped us get the AAA grant. They're all for collaboration as well.
So I was just looking in the budget report. Is the grant from the Community Foundation and from AAA from 2013 and carried over?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good, very good.
In the budget process, we had set aside $16,000 in CIP for JAWS.
Yes, I see that.
And in the process, once we had the grants, we peeled that money back out to the general fund to help
Right.
get through the end of the budget year. And the $6,000, we're just going to carry that into next year and pick it up after July 1st to make it work out better.
That was my question.
Yeah, and that's your answer, ma'am.
Thank you.
And just to give them a little plug, how did the contribution from All Saints come about?
Oh, that was awesome. The kids from All Saints put together a program. It was a penny drive, and they did a penny drive throughout the school, and they all put their pennies together, and then we went down and we did a demonstration with the old JAWS and tore up a car, and then they had a whole assembly-wide, or school-wide assembly, and they really enjoyed it, had a good time, and they came up with $162. And, it's neat to have that grassroots support from the community. The grants are awesome, but that $162 is special, because that came from the kids.
And I hope you never have to use it for them.
Yes, I hope not, too.
Well, Chief, it's just a fantastic job what the department did. I know we certainly appreciate it, and no one wants to be the one that doesn't have the jaws of life that we need when it happens, so certainly appreciate what you were able to do, and the children, obviously, but
That was great. Thank you.
great.
And thank you for your support.
All right, thank you, Chief. Thanks, Rob.
I move we approve the purchase of the Jaws of Life as presented.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Okay, new business this evening is grass cutting fees. Mr. Gilmette?
Not all the department heads I worry about tell me to hurry up, just that one right back here. Waiting right up the back. Good evening. With the onset of the spring and summer months, we've experienced a steady increase in uncut grass complaints. In the last 3 weeks, we've logged 55 complaints, and another 30 or so that do not get logged because the occupant immediately gets it cut, or we see it later on in the day and we don't waste our time logging it. The process is either to receive a complaint over the phone or we see an uncut property while out doing other inspections. We then attempt personal contact with the occupant, or in cases of vacant properties, we leave a door hanger. You've all seen those green door hangers around town. The owner occupant then has 5 days to cut the grass, or the city does it either through DPW or through our lawn cutting contractor. We return to the address 5 or 6 days later to see if the lawn's been cut and close out the enforcement record, or we schedule it to be cut. The contractor then cuts the properties and bills the city once a month. In most of the cases, the lawns are cut through our subcontractor and not through the DPW. And currently, that price is on average $30 a city lot from the subcontractor. DPW is generally too busy doing other city work and doesn't have the time or resources to pull off to go cut a couple lots around town. So far this year, about 12 lawns have been cut by the contractor. I've had a few people comment that $30 is a good deal for getting a lawn cut, especially property owners from out of town. I suspect that some of the bank and USDA foreclosed properties feel the same way. In essence, we expend a lot of time we don't have over simple requirements to cut your grass in requirement with the ordinances. In some instances, the contractor's fee could be higher based on debris cleanup or extraordinarily long grass. However, the inspection fee will be added regardless. We do not plan on using DPW in the future to cut lawns, because they have enough things to do and generally cost much more than the contractor, which can cause issues because, well, the contractor cut my lawn for $30, DPW did, it was $145, because, you know, we have different fees and two guys go. So I'm asking City Council to authorize charging an additional inspection fee of $50 for the lawn cutting. This will bring the cost of cutting a lawn to the actual bill cost from the contractor, plus the $50 inspection fee should help increase compliance. We will add this fee to the city fee schedule and call it lawn cutting inspection. Currently, we have a $50 inspection fee in general in the fee thing. That, you know, for special inspections outside of business hours, but we thought this would get more attention if we call it lawn cutting inspection fee to help get compliance. And I had another guy call me Saturday and say, hey, by the way, I got the lawn cut. I saw your door hanger, how much would it have been if I had it done? I said, it'll be like, you know, $30. Well, that's not too bad, but it's going up. The bad news is too, a lot of times we cut those lawns, we don't ever get the money anyway. We're paying for it. Because on a bank foreclosed property that goes for the second tax sale, those liens go away. The best chance we ever have of getting it is on a property that's got a potential to be bought by someone. They generally clear those liens up through their lender or through cash when they buy it.
Don, when the contractor cuts someone's property, is that address logged? It's logged as, because I read this and I don't have a problem with anything you said. It's kind of annoys me sometimes that this is a problem in our city. But with that said, I wondered if you had you considered, because you log who it is and what the address is, had you considered a progressive style? Did we talk about?
Yes, we talked about that.
I knew I talked to somebody about it. Rather than just $50, because somebody's going to find $50 pretty cheap pretty soon.
Right.
But if you have to keep coming back to have a progressively larger bill each time, so we're not being abused by somebody that just doesn't want to hire somebody on their own.
And I talked with the city manager about that, and I spoke with the city attorney. What I'd really like to see happening is municipal civil infractions. You know, we can write tickets too, but when we write a ticket, it takes even more time. And there's even, I don't want to call it a return on your investment of time, but there's even less money that comes back to the city because a lot of it gets eaten up by the courts. I think we get 35% of those tickets, so if it's a $100 citation, we're looking at $35. I'd like to investigate with the city attorney setting up a ticket where we write a ticket, just like a parking ticket for not paying your launch fee, $25, gets paid downstairs, and we get all the money. And then you could easily set up a progressive fee. I mean, we could do that now, Matt, because we do log, any that get cut, they're logged into code enforcement. We can go right down the list, and any of you can too, by just going online and looking at a property number, and you can just start, pick your own address or somebody else, and just start looking, hey, what's on there? All those code enforcements, building permits, all that stuff's on there. You can see, you know, there's some that when I open them up to log in the grass complaint, it's 2 or 3 times every year. And a lot of those are foreclosed property. There's kind of a period in there where somebody walks away from their house and the bank or USDA or a credit union is going to repossess it. There's a 6-month limbo period where that lending institution can't legally even set foot on the property. And the people just call and say, well, we're not cutting the grass. We don't care. You know, they're walking away, so.
Well, do you have many people who are non-compliant homeowners who live downstate or wherever they live and just say 30, does this happen all the time?
No, definitely not. But it does happen. And sometimes it could be multi-unit tenant buildings.
Right.
Where, they're not, single-family rental, generally, the landlord tells the tenant, hey, you're cutting the grass, okay, fine, but you get a duplex, triplex, they don't, the landlord has somebody do it, or they come up and do it. Well, let's say if they live in Oscoda, and they think, to run up there and cut that grass, it's only gonna cost me $30. Kalashewski was the one that initially brought it to my attention, and I would've made him give this report, except he's on vacation. Started thinking about it, it made sense to me. And then as we log those in and we look at the repeats.
It's ridiculous.
And then when I had a guy, actually, he's a good friend of mine, and I think he was being somewhat jokingly saying that, $30 is a good deal. I don't think he wants the city to cut his lawn, but it just kind of leads into this whole idea.
Well, I have to cut my lawn, or somebody.
do I.
mean, fair's fair. Maybe it could be higher. If they think 50's a good deal, we could work on that.
Well, out of all those complaints, let's say 85 in the last 3 weeks, 12 of those had to be cut, 85, by someone other than the person that's
That's
responsible
ridiculous.
for the cut. But, I was on it all day today. We try to take care of them on Mondays, have them cut by Friday, then we send an email Friday after work to the lawn cutter, and then he starts picking at them as he gets time.
Now, we're saying 50, it's really 80, right?
It's
It's
currently,
30
but
plus
it could
the
be more.
50.
Sometimes he'll go cut when there might be a lot of debris, especially in the case of
Exactly.
foreclosure. We pull in a dumpster, he might be there 2 hours, we could get a $60, $80, $90 bill. We're still gonna put the 50 on top.
You should.
And one question I had, Don, too, is that, did I understand correctly that you only leave the door hanger on there? Do you make an attempt to contact the property owner at all? Or
Door
is it
hanger.
just-
I changed that a long time ago. It used to be we had to write them a letter. It's all time and money, and we just don't have time.
Okay. Just
And
wanted-
you all drive around, you see them, they stick out
Oh,
like
yeah.
their thumbs,
Mhm.
A lot of times we'll have where, you drive by it, and then all of a sudden you get a complaint, you're like, man, I just drove down that street, you think I would've saw it. Well, it's because the neighbor's been cutting all the grass in the front, so it didn't look bad, but now it's 3 feet tall in the backyard.
We've been through that in our neighborhood. We had to cut a neighbor's backyard because it abuts ours.
Right.
And our daughter was getting married in the backyard, and it looked like a abandoned dump. It was
Well, and it's
ridiculous.
bad for mosquitoes too, especially
It
this year,
is.
it's bad.
It
The
truly
mold,
is.
moisture, it breeds a lot of mosquitoes, and people, you just shouldn't have to put up with it, because we are in the
Right.
city after all.
That's right.
So you charge someone $30, but we might be being charged more than that?
No.
Okay, so
No,
you
we
don't
charge-
charge
we're
somebody
charged.
until you get the bill from the lawn
Correct.
cutting service?
Exactly. That's
Okay.
just, that $30
Okay.
is average.
That's okay.
It's whatever they charge us, and then our
Right.
proposal is to add
Just
50
to
to
add
it.
50 for you.
So
and
if it's a
Mike's side.
$75 bill from the contractor, then it'll be 125 that
Right.
we would
Okay.
would
'Cause you gotta
charge
go
the
back there
property.
twice, right?
Pardon me?
You've gotta go back there, you've gotta go to the premises twice. Once to
At
see
least
that
twice.
they did it, and then at least once more to see.
We always are gonna go twice, even if they did it, we gotta go back, but then we're done, so we go back twice, we generate a list, an email, the contractor bills, the bill comes to the clerk's office, the clerk has to sit down and send the bills out. So it's not about,
Ridiculous.
we're not gonna break even on this, and that's not the idea, it's just hopefully that the extra $50 is gonna be an influence to people to do it yourself.
And out of the 12 lawns that you had to cut so far, are most of those bank-owned properties?
Yes.
And
By
so
far,
the chance of us ever getting that money back
it's
is...
about 50-50.
So you wanna establish this now, and then work on something new for the next
Progressive.
season, the
Correct.
progressive or some, even
We're gonna look
anything.
at even for, we had the issues this year with sidewalk, snow shoveling, looking at, again, DPW doesn't have the time. But maybe there's a potential to put out for bids like we did with the lawn cutting engineering, put that out for bid services. Do that with, the sidewalk plowing, and get that done too.
Yeah. And Bill, you're okay with this?
Yes.
Are you looking for a motion?
Sure, if you'd like.
I move we add an additional $50 to the contractor cost and the inspection fee to the cost of cutting the lawns of the non-compliant homeowners.
Second.
Olagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Sexton?
No.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate that. That's all I got. That's all. Nothing on the back.
I move
we adjourn.
that Mike said something. Second.
You are watching All About Alpena.